Hi campers, how are you doing today? It's Laura McCoy, and you might be wondering why I'm Bat Day. I've got an odd guest with me, but go with me on this one. When people are thinking about being creative and making their superhero characters, they have to get an inspiration somewhere. Now, if you think about Batman, pretty easy to think about how Batman got its inspiration, but if you know anything about the Batman characters and some of the other villains and even his sidekick, there's a couple things that are connected to Batman that probably had a little bit of a nature connection. I want you to think about Batman's sidekick. Who does he hang out with? That's Robin. What's one of his arch nemesis? You got Penguin. That's not normally one that you'd think of as a villain. And then there's Poison Ivy. That's kind of a one that we'd have to think about for us here. Not necessarily my favorite, might make a pretty good villain. So as you are thinking about all these superheroes of nature, I want you to think about some of the underdogs. Maybe some of those crazy nature things that you could come up with an interesting story. So I'm going to propose an unlikely candidate that I have got for a superhero. I have got our worm. And they're a decomposer. How many of you eat your orange peels? How many of you eat the peels from your bananas or your carrots or the core from your apple? Nah, that doesn't taste very good. But if you're a worm, you're going to think that that leftover food is fantastic. Now, their superpower is that when they eat some of these dead things, they're in a category of animals called a decomposer. And they turn rotten food into really good soil. So that's a pretty amazing superpower. You can turn something that we can't eat into something that's going to be able to grow a flower. So I'd like to nominate our worm as a very unlikely superhero. And maybe when you're out and about today, have fun trying your Batman, different experiments, and some of your things that are happening for your obstacles to do with Batman. And maybe come up with some inspirations for your unlikely superhero and unlikely villain. I'm going to read a story for you about our superworm, because I guess somebody beat me to it for their superworm. But I do agree, worms are pretty super animals. So we'll enjoy a story together.